Hello everybody and Merry early Christmas. And I'm saying that because you're in for a real treat. Today we're taking a look at Vendure over at Vendure.io. This is an open source commerce platform that you can use to build a really professional online business, so a web shop or any other kind of online commerce platform. I've been playing around with it for a few weeks now, and I can say that it is truly amazing. The video is going to be a little bit long, but I promise you that there will be no fillers, everything will be relevant. And I'll try to add some timestamps below so you can skip ahead if there's something that you don't need to see. First, I will show you a web shop that I built in Vendure so you can see what to expect. And by the end of the video, you will have a fully operational web shop just like the one I show you. So I wrote a little article over at funkytongue.com about Vendure, and this also includes all details that you might need for the deployment. And yeah, there will be a tutorial later in the video, but there is also information on this article if you miss something. But I'll scroll down a little bit to the live demo section, and this is the web shop that I built on top of Vendure. So it's at shop.funkytongue.com, and here it is. I chose a React Remix storefront, so the web shop is based on React, and I didn't do any customizations to it. So this is why it says Vendure Remix Starter. I didn't put any titles, but what I did do is I added two collections, as they call it, Art Deco and T-shirts, and let's do a checkout flow. So this is the product selection page, and I think it looks really nice. I wouldn't even change anything here. I will just use it as it is. And I added some t-shirts here that are for sale. So let's try to buy one of them. I'll add this one to my cart, and for the sake of it, I'll also get one in large. So we now have two products in our shopping cart. And that will be about it. Let's go to the checkout. And here I will put in, I will do a 10-minute mail. And this will be for John Doe. Let's see how little information I can get away with. That looks about right. So I can put in either credit card or use Google Pay. And this is done with Stripe. So I have connected my webshop to Stripe, and Stripe is connected to my personal business and my bank account, so I can receive money via Stripe. And I'll put in a dummy credit card number that I know works for testing purposes with Stripe. Hit pay. Waiting, and there it was. We have an order summary here. So it looks like we now made an order. Let's go over to the 10 minutes, and here it is. You can see I got an order confirmation email, and it's not formatted very nicely in this web viewer, but I've tested it also in my Outlook mail inbox, and it looks nicer there. But enough of all of that. Let's head back to go over to Railway so I can show you just the admin experience. So I'll find my backend, and I will open it up, and you need to add /admin. So this is my admin dashboard, and I think it is super awesome. It comes with this metrics chart. You can see how well you're doing in sales. And yesterday I made $75 worth of purchases, and just now also another 75. You can see here a little tile showing latest orders, and one thing I think is so cool, you can actually drag these around to customize your dashboard just like that. Then we have over here in the menu, there is the products, and you can see I have all of my t-shirts, and I have some lamps here also. And in order for them to show up on your webshop, you'll need to add them to collections. So in collections, you can add these. And I think that during the tutorial a little bit later, when we have deployed your webshop, I'll set up one product and one collection, so you know how to do that at least. but that should be about it. And within orders, you can see the orders here, and here you can see what they purchased. And if you haven't set up any emailing or payment services, you could use this to reach out directly to the customer who placed an order and ask them to pay in one or the other way, and then you could ship your items. So it is a fully operational web shop. That is all for the demo. Let's go back to the blog post. So before we start deploying, I will just make a brief comparison Vendure and Medusajs. For those of you who watched my previous video where we deployed Medusajs, you know what that is. And I think they are extremely similar, but there is a few key differences that I'll just briefly cover. And what I found is that the product setup is a little bit easier and faster with Vendure. So I was able to add all my t-shirts faster than I did in Medusajs, which is really nice if you are managing a webshop with a lot of products. The learning curve of the admin dashboard, I found it a little bit easier on Medusajs. There was a few things regarding the setup of collections in Vendure that I didn't understand, and I had to go to the Discord of the Vendure community and ask for help, but then they helped me and I moved on. And from there on, I haven't experienced any difficulty setting up anything. So it's minuscule. Setting up email templates, I think both Vendure and Medusajs is not perfect on this aspect. In Medusa, you manage your email templates in SendGrid, so on another website, and they have like a web interface where you can modify your email templates, and then you need to link your templates to the Medusa app, and it will sometimes work. And I also experienced some emails I never got to work. On Vendure, on the other hand, your email templates live in your source code. So you can modify them in whatever code editor you like, but if you want them to have your changes live, you need to deploy. So that will take some time. So I think there's room for improvement for both of these. In terms of production readiness, I think this is a very important point. And in my experience, Vendure is better than Medusa as of right now. I had issues in Medusajs, what I just told you a second ago with the email templates, but also I had some items that I was trying to change the inventory number of, and they kept appearing as sold out on my webshop, even though I tried to change it to, I had 10 in stock many times, but it did not work for some reason. It would keep saying sold out. And what is even worse is that some of the data points on my items after I've saved, they disappeared. So I think there was some overriding going on. And these kind of issues, I have not experienced any of that with Vendure while setting up products. So I think it's a little bit more production ready. In terms of longevity, this I also think is an important aspect to keep in mind before you start building a whole web shop on an open source project. Will this project be around for years ahead? And I think Medusa, you can be pretty safe that it will keep pushing updates. They have been around since September 21, and they are backed by a lot of big companies, and they have been working very hard on Medusa 2.0, which hopefully will solve some of the issues I just covered. And for that reason, I think that Medusa will definitely stick around for a long time. So I think Medusa is a safe bet to start building on top of. What about Vendure? I think also it would surprise me very much if they stop development, but it is important to note that they are much younger. They have been around. They were introduced to the public on their blog on 9th of June 23. So that's like 2 years later than Medusa, and only 1 year ago. So they have not had a long time to build up a user portfolio. But in that short time, they have built an amazing product. So it's really impressive how far they've come in that short time. And for that reason, I think that I am very hopeful that they will have something really, really cool going forward. But the future will know. Let's take the temperature again a little later. Okay, so now you know a little bit about what to expect in terms of what you get. And I've showed you the demo. Now to the tutorial part. So one thing that you could do is head over to vendure.io, and in the developer section, they have a get started in 5 minutes. How amazing is that? You can get started in just 5 minutes. I did that myself, and it took me longer than 5 minutes. I ran into some issues. So while doing this setup, it failed on me because there was no database, and I had to find out how to create the database myself. And then when I run the setup flow again and gave all the credentials to the database, it finally worked out, and it created the application on my machine, and I was able to run it locally. So I would say that took about 15 minutes, and then I had a backend and a React Remix webshop on my local host. And that's good and all, but what if I told you that in less than 5 minutes you can have a fully operational webshop, and not on your local host, but actually live on a production environment where customers can access it? And I think I have achieved that for you. That's why I started the video by saying you're in for a treat. So I spent a lot of time creating a deploy template on Railway, where it automatically installs the backend, it installs the React Remix frontend, it creates a database, it automatically connects the database to your app containers, it creates an asset storage unit on Railway where all your images, product images, will be saved, and yeah, everything is connected and ready to go. And I thought, while doing this tutorial, why not set a timer and see how long it actually takes to spin up this. So I will open up my clock and I'll click start, and I will scroll down on my blog post until I found the deploy on Railway button here. And yeah, one thing you need to do before getting started is you need to have a GitHub account and you need to have a Railway account, and they need to be connected. So if you don't have GitHub, create an account and then go to Railway, just click this link and click sign up with GitHub, and then you're all set to go. Then you click on the deploy on Railway button and you'll be taken to the deploy template page, backend, storefront, database, and asset storage unit. This is what we want to do. And I'm going to click deploy now. There's a little bit of configuration of the different units. They are ready to be deployed, but I would go into the backend, expand it, and go to the environment variables here. And I would, if I was you, change the cookie secret to something else, and Granny's recipe, something secret, and super admin password and username, I would also change that to something else so other people cannot access your admin dashboard. But I'm doing a demo, so I don't care. I'm going to be deleting this environment afterwards anyway. So I'll just be leaving them as are, and I'll click deploy. And for those of you that followed my Medusa deploy tutorial, that took quite a lot of time. That was about, I think it took 15 minutes as I recorded the deployment, but usually it would take about 7 to 10 minutes. And deploying this Vendure app is much faster. It should take only 3 to 4, I've seen 5 minutes sometimes. But let me just pause the recording here, and I'll come back when the canvas is done. Let's just hit refresh to see that it is actually creating all the things. Yes, database is done, and now we're just waiting for the backend to build and the front end to build. So I will click pause and be back in a second. One thing I forgot to mention, rewind the time back a little bit. So when you sign up for Railway, if you do not already have a hobby plan, you will need a hobby plan in order to use this deploy template. It is $5 per month. And the reason being is that all these hosting services like DigitalOcean, Heroku, Railway, yeah, you name it, that offers cloud computing, they have all been victim of malicious people using them for bot farms. So every time they do a free tier version, what happens is that a lot of droplets is being created and used to do DDoS attacks. So the bot farms will be created on them. That's why they need you to sign up with a credit card, and they need to charge you a little bit of money because that is really the only way they can ensure that thousands of bot users will not be created. But $5 is very little to get started with this. I will say that if you start using a lot of resources, so if you have a lot of traffic, you will exceed the $5, and they will ask you to pay some more money if you have a lot of traffic. But for I usually I just put my apps to I enable sleep, so I click on the service and go to settings, and I scroll down a little bit. Yeah, app sleeping. I turn this on and hit deploy. I'll not do that right now. So let's just remove it again. And then when I'm in development mode, these just go to sleep and they don't charge any money for that. So as soon as I'm production ready and I want to launch them, I turn off app sleeping, and then they are running, fully running. Okay, I'll just refresh because it looked like we are done. Okay, so it still thinks there's a change here, but there's actually not. Let's go to the deployment and see if our backend is up and running. I'll open the URL and it is already running. If you get an error on this page, a 404 or saying nothing is here or the app is not being served or something like that, it's usually because you just need to wait another minute. If this box was green, you should be good. Just wait another minute and try again. And let's write /admin. Let's see if we come to our dashboard. It looks like it. Super admin, and password was super admin. Yes. So we are at 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes for the deploy itself. Let's just keep the time going and add a product. So I'll go to the product page here. I'll create new product. I will add my cat astronaut, and it's a poster. And then I want a product picture, so I click assets, upload assets, and here is the cat astronaut. And it is uploaded, and I will add it and some description. Very nice poster. Yeah, and let's add some variant options. So sizes, and it comes in A4, A3, A2, not A1. And let's also add another option, frame. Yes, no. All right. So here it has all the combinations of my variants, and this is what Medusa didn't do automatically for me. I would have to do these things one by one, which took a lot of time. This is much faster. So I'll say that the A4 is $10, and I have all of them I have 50 in stock of. And let's actually change so that the frame ones, they are a little bit more expensive. 15, but these without the frames are still 10 because the frame costs something. Wait. Okay, so now we have all the ones with frame is $15 and all the ones without the frame is 10. Yeah, good. Let's click create. And now we need to add a collection. So I will add a new collection and I will call it posters. We don't need a description here, and I will not add a cover image. In order for your products to show up in your collection, you need to add a filter. I don't know why it's called a filter, but you need to add a filter. And you can do something like filter by variant name, and you could put in a word like poster. So if all of your products that has poster in the name, they will be in that collection. But I'm going to choose this one, select manually, and then I will click here, and you can see the products that you have. We only have one, so I'll select that, select item, and then we scroll to the top and click create. And we have now a collection with a product. Let's go back to Railway and let's find our front end, and it is done. And let's open it up and see. It looks like we are good to go. I see posters here, and there it is. There is the cat. You'll notice that it says 12 to 18, but I put in 10 and 15, and I believe that's because there is some sort of default text setting on. You find the text settings in here, text categories. I should have made zero text default before I created the product if I didn't want it to add tax on. But now we got tax on top of the price. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, let's look at the time. We are less than 10 minutes. And in less than 10 minutes, we launched a Vendure webshop, created a product and a collection, and it could technically be purchased by someone by sharing this link. I think that is amazing. It's really, really easy to get started. I don't personally know of any faster or easier way to have an online webshop. I have had products on Etsy before, and I've also been through a Shopify setup, and none of this has been possible in less than 10 minutes. So this is your own personal webshop with a dashboard that you manage and adding products, and it is very, very fast and easy. I must be honest with you and say that what you have now is not exactly what I showed before. If I add this one to my basket and go to the checkout flow, okay, we need at least an email. Let's just use the 10-minute mail again. And John Doe, and proceed to payment. And you do not have this form with credit card or Google Pay, and it doesn't say pay with Stripe, and that's because this is not connected to a Stripe account. Furthermore, if we do the standard payment, we will not get an email over at the inbox on the 10-minute mail. There will not come any confirmation email, and that's because the webshop app is not connected to a SendGrid account. So there's two more things that you need to do. I don't need to do it. You could technically go into your admin dashboard here and collapse the settings, go to orders. You could go in here and see, okay, you have an order from John Doe, and you have his address here, and you know how much money to add. So you could do everything manually by sending an email asking for payment and shipping your items. But I'm assuming that you would like a credit card form, and I'm assuming that you would like also to have an automated order confirmation email at least. I will not be going over how to do that in this video because it does take quite some time and it is a bit technical. So I will do that in another video, and I'll try to upload that pretty soon. And I'll try to make it as easy as possible. But for now, you can go ahead and start adding all the products to your webshop. And yeah, in who knows how long, there will be a video showing you how to achieve the two last things, which is setting up payment and emailing. Okay, that is all for now. Have a nice day. Goodbye.